All right.
Yep.
Today, Ultimate Fighting Chat are going to have a chat about UFC 279, Diaz versus Ferguson. So anyway, I'm going to start. Hang on. Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. I've forgotten about something. Before we go any further, we're going to have to make a decision here of whether we're going to do this chat or whether we're allowed to do this chat. Because we've had a comment on the channel and it needs discussing. And I'm going to say this to you now. We're going to have to discuss it right at the top of the show before we continue, because it could have a bearing on whether we actually do continue. Okay? I take it that's big enough that you can read that out?
Well, not the first bit, but commented, stop the channel. I can read that bit.
Stop the channel. So
that's it.
Look.
See you later.
Speak to you later. Yeah, it was fun while it lasted. You know what I mean?
Well, not for him, it wasn't.
Look, I'm going to ask you now, is there any way that you can manipulate that to be anything other than negative or what it seems to mean? Or is it literally we've got to just take it as what it says, which is stop the channel?
Is it
any
stop the
other
channel?
way you can, determine what they're trying to say?
Rather than stop the channel, couldn't they just stop watching? Wouldn't that be easier?
Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So you're saying they can take themselves away from the pain, the agony, the anxiety, whatever the issue is. They can take themselves away from it and leave everyone else to continue enjoying it. That's what you're saying?
What do you mean, anyone else? I think this was our only viewer. Now he's sodded off. Forget it. You know, your beard looks like a Tiki Gosens at the moment. It looks like you've
because of the stripes,
dyed in like silver stripes into it. I know you haven't, but that's what it looks like.
I know. Yeah, or gaps or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it is unbelievable that it's agreed that I'm now just going to have. Let's have a quick look at it, right? It's been agreed that I've got stripes. Yeah. What is going on?
Yeah, see, I wouldn't like that if I were you, because to me, I would think that people would think that I'd put those in on purpose, to try.
Because
I'm into tigers or something, Siberian tigers or something like that. So I've decided to make my beard like one. If you can't do a just for men on it, you can't dye it because that looks even worse.
Yeah, that would be crap. Yeah,
I think you just have to go clean shaven. But as you remember, when you cut your facial hair down very short before, I said those key words to you. You look crap. So if I was you, never mind stop the channel, just stop the beard.
It's weird that they're a bit perfect because it looks like I've done it. Like you said, if they're a bit more...
I get it as well,
Do you?
Yeah, I've got
like
I've got a silver strip here and a silver strip here.
Well, there you go.
But I don't get a good beard like you do, so I have to sort of keep it trimmed down.
Yours is all built in square. You don't even have to shave. You just leave it, and then you've got a tailored beard. It's brilliant.
No, I don't want a goatee. But anyway, regardless, I get the silver strip here and I get silver strip here. I don't know why.
Because we try to be non-run of the mill.
You got any of those downstairs?
What?
Like, a mix of different colours down in the downstairs department as well, or is it just on the face? You got some mixes downstairs as well, yeah?
Yeah. A few different colours down there, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. Very. So on this comment, look, I just need to know, are we going to continue with the show? That's the first thing. Or are we going to heed the advice and stop?
Well, look, we always said that this is just, we always used to chat about UFC, and now we do the same thing, but just with a webcam on. That's it. And so it don't really make a difference or not whether somebody says stop the channel, because you can just not watch. I mean, no one else is watching. Why are they going against, the crowd? Just stop watching and on.
No one asked them to watch it, right? It's his own fault for watching.
But honestly, I appreciate the comment though. I like it, good or bad. I like comments. If someone wants to say, my hairstyle's crap or something, bring it on. Let's hear it. Let's get some feedback going.
Look, that is a good point. Something we always said before we started doing this, getting over all the hurdles and should we do it and let's do no camera, then the camera and whatnot. All the different chats we had was we wouldn't mind a bit of interaction, positive or negative, right? Whatever it is, just something. Well, there you go.
There you go. Overwhelmingly negative. But don't forget, we've had people like Bailey say with good stuff. So
here and Bailey, yeah. Well, look, exactly right. So in the name, so we're carrying on. We're not heeding the advice.
Let's just get on with the event, innit?
Let's soldier on. No, we can't, because in the name of balance, right? Yin, yang, hard, soft, rough, smooth. We've had another comment. Colin Roche, how do you pronounce his name? Because that's your thing. You're the Anik.
I don't know.
Or can you have a go at it then?
Yeah, I mean, I would have said Roche.
Roche. Okay, Colin Roche, he commented, well, you can see it. Love it. So let's just have a look.
There's no way that ain't someone we know. There's no way that ain't like your dad or something like that, just with a
but listen, look, seriously though, this is within the same time period. Stop the channel. That was on the UFC 279 where we did a chat about with a trailer and all that. And then it did come afterwards, but we're talking about in the same time frame. This is what happens. And listen, Colin Roche says, love it. And you know what? He commented on, what's that one? The
Garn versus
Tuivasa. But listen, thanks. Look, I am the same as you. I go, well, it must be a friend, someone we know, this and the other. I don't know him. In your opinion, do you know who this is? Because I don't. I think it's legit stranger.
It's definitely not from my side, because no one who I know knows I do this. And secondly, the only people that would know, as in the only people who might find out, can't use a computer. They wouldn't know how to leave a comment, let alone set up a fake profile called Colin Roche. So I'm going to say that this guy's real. And if he is, he's got to come on the show. Look, there's an extra little slot down the bottom, right? You can fit 3 people down the side here. Let's get Roche on.
Look, seriously now, right? It ain't good, that comment.
I'd have him on and all, though.
Eh?
I'd have him on and all. If it's
no problem, right? Yeah, he can. Let's have a chat about it, right? I responded to him and said, "No worries, we're going to discuss it on the next episode." In other words, it ain't stopped yet, but we have discussed whether to stop it or not based on the comment. But I'm saying this stop the channel comment ain't very nice. We're happy to have.
We can't stop the channel, because then what's Roche going to do?
Right, that's what I'm saying, right?
We owe it to our fans to soldier on. So
look, this is the thing.
This one's for Colin.
We've got the perfect thing there, the good balance there, a negative and then a positive. So Colin Roche, listen, seriously, if you ain't someone we know, because as far as we're aware, you ain't someone we know, listen, thanks very much. Because if you're someone we know that'll either be supportive thing or sarcasm, one of the two. If this is someone we don't know, and from that name and from that picture, I don't know you and he don't know you, then genuinely now, thanks very much. And of course, you're invited on the show. I appreciate it. Thanks. Have you got anything else to say to Colin?
No, I've already, sung his praises. I'm not going to, go overboard with it.
Okay, right.
I'll just say what you said. When you do we even discussed this thing when the other fella left a negative comment, you do kind of go, should I not do this? And like we say, we don't do this for any reason other than we love fighting, and we always chat about it. And like we say, we just thought, well, let's put a webcam up and have a chat about it on webcam.
Yeah, if we get views, we get views. If we don't, we don't. We're not expecting anything out of it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not like we're hunting for a media job or anything like that. But
Nope.
even still, when you get a comment from that fella saying stop the channel, it did make me laugh, and it did also make me go, maybe I should, right? But then
Made me think too.
Yeah, and then you get a nice comment from someone else, and you go, hey, you know what? Sod that other guy.
It does go to show you, though, in all honesty, how much these things, can affect you. Not that it affected me or you that bad, or for any long period of time, but it did make both of us question it and go, "Oh, well, it's that bad that we shouldn't be doing
that bad." To be fair, he's pretty accurate. It is that bad.
But it's still not fair and not nice to just tell people to stop it. We should be allowed to do it if we want to do it.
It's not as bad as DC and RC, is it?
It ain't as bad as that, that's for sure. I mean, maybe he's told them to stop it and all.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
So it is nice, like you say, to have. It just so happens that it came, like I say, in exactly the same time frame. So, Colin Roche, listen, thanks very much for that support, because as you've seen, we've just been done. So anyway, let's chat about the event, shall we? Now we know what's happened with this. This event went through some changes. We even did our own little podcast chat about it being Diaz versus Chimaev. And just as a little reminder, I've got this little thing playing here of him having a smash out back. What do you want to say about the mix-up, the change-ups, the missing weight, etc., etc.? Let's start with all that. And cancelling the press conference and all that. Let's have a chat about. Let's
have a chat about how good Dana looks in that blue polo shirt.
Let's have a look.
For a guy who's like knocking on, what is he, 50 something?
Yeah, Denis look mint.
Yeah, he used to look like such a dweeb and all that. It basically used to look like me, didn't he? If I grew the top of my hair out a little bit, it kind of looked a little bit like me, with slightly worse teeth, but only slightly worse.
Oh no, he's red, and we found out that you were all sort of yellowy green last time, if you remember.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that was down to the webcam. But yeah, I mean,
look, he used to look a bit weedy, wispy Barnett, and he used to come out in a suit. Now he looks all power, even in a suit.
Yeah, he used to look like, I don't know, your accountant or something like that. You'd go to buy a used car, and they'd send him out on the forecourt to go and deal with you. That's what he used to look like. But now he looks, honestly, for his age, I think he looks amazing.
He does look brilliant. There's no doubt about that.
But to talk about the switch ups,
just update me. What? Just give me a quick. What happened and what do you think?
Well, we kind of disagreed on it a little bit, didn't we? I know that you were more excited to see Chimaev versus Diaz than the sort of shuffled up plan. I said to you, I thought it was. I actually had, for 2 of the 3 fights, I had more intrigue in the new updated version. So I felt that Diaz-Ferguson was a more interesting and evenly matched fight. Even though I do think Diaz had a chance against Chimaev, I just think it was more of an evenly matched fight. Chimaev versus Hollands, again, I think that was more of an interesting match, partly because of this beef they had backstage that caused the press conference to be cancelled. And the only one that I felt was a little bit rough was Jing Lang getting Rodriguez, obviously having to fight someone 10 pounds heavier on short notice. Right. This, that, and the other. I don't want to hear about all the suit stuff, because honestly, the suit thing was quite interesting. He didn't get to wear his new suit at the press conference. It was a little bit of a gimmick for a thing. But now everybody's talking about anything that Jing Lang wears, like wore a T-shirt saying robbed across the vest. Sorry, he wore a vest at I think a Helwani interview with robbed written across it. And everyone's talking about that now. So we don't have to talk about everything Jing Lang ever wears ever again.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of sick and tired of that already. But I think the new fights were more intriguing, more relevant as well. And so I had no problem with it. And I thought it was a good patch-up job considering what went down. For anyone that don't know, Chimaev, weighing in massively overweight, was about 7.5 pounds overweight. So
that was the real reason. It weren't the press conference having a fight at backstage that messed things up, was it? It was
Not unless you believe
Chimaev missing weight.
sharp or something like that.
Right. Sharp, brilliant boots.
Now
Look,
he should stop his channel or his comedy or whatever. Sharp.
no, we wouldn't say stuff like that. You know, he can do whatever he likes. Still, we just don't watch it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? We just don't watch it. Anyone can do whatever they want, including that guy telling us to stop the channel. Can do that, say that, no problem. But we're still here doing chats. So, yeah, so he misses weight, and then they have to shuffle it all around and whatnot. I agree with you that I think they were more sensible, apart from the Jing Yang fight. They were more sensible matchups, and if they were the first ones announced, then I would have gone, yeah, they make more sense. It's just that I really liked the Diaz upset Chimaev scenario.
Potential, yeah, the potential of that, right?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
I mean, if Diaz did, tame the wolf, or so to speak, in his last appearance, that would have been, like a Rocky Balboa story, right? But
yeah,
and so you were kind of buying into that potential or that possibility, and you were excited to see that potentially happen.
Yeah, exactly right.
For me, I think it was just the new matchups were just better, with the exception of Rodriguez Xinglang, which we'll get to in a minute.
All right. Okay. Well, one thing I've missed out, and I am going to do it because I meant to do it, was another positive is we've had a subscriber, and this one you're going to read the name out for me. That's why I put a shot up. I'm going to put a shot up. We've had a subscriber. It ain't new. It was from November 21, but it's the only one we've had since then. And we ain't mentioned it and discussed it because we ain't really done many shows. But anyway, so this is the new subscriber. So welcome him to the fray.
Yep. Welcome, Mr. Ish. I'm glad to have you on board.
Yeah, nice one. Good one.
That must be Russian, right? Something like that.
Yeah, seen that way when I went to the channel. Yeah, exactly right. Good skill. Good skill.
Yeah.
So thanks for the subscribe. You might want to have a chat to this guy about that, or have a chat to Colin about it. You know what I mean? So, look, thanks very much, though, Mr. Ish. As he says, good way of getting out of it. We'll move on to the fights. We're happy to move on to the fights.
Let's go.
Right.
You're under time constraints today, so no faffing about.
All right. Okay. All right. You never saw any of these, right?
No.
Okay. These early ones. The first one is Darian Weeks versus Lohan White Lion Lianesse. And you didn't watch it? Didn't see it because it weren't on telly?
Wasn't on the...
Have you got the results up, please, on the interweb? Please,
no.
Can you? Can you get them, please?
Have you seen it and you don't know who won?
I can't remember that. I know that Lohan won. I can't remember how, though. I think it was a split decision is what my brain's telling me. Could you confirm, please? I'm pretty sure it was a split decision by the White Lion. Weren't much going on in this fight, is the truth.
Yep, split decision.
Okay.
Or Johan Lianesse.
Oh, hang on. I helped myself here. There you go. Look, you've got the Muscle Business 10 shout winning. Now, the only thing I've got to say about it is look on the left-hand side. So the Darian Weeks coach, look at the hands out. He's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What kind of judges have we got in here? It was brilliant. He's so confused. But was I confused? Not really. It was just a bit of one of those fights where I didn't have much reason. Yeah. I couldn't really pick one over the other, really. I weren't watching it in immense detail, but from what I saw, I just went, well, I don't know. At the end of it, you normally have an idea, even if you've just seen someone on top of someone for a bit, you have an idea and go, probably that guy. Honestly, I didn't know. So when it was split decision, I went, well, yeah, I didn't know either. Anyway, we can move on to the next fight. Okay. Melisa, Super Melee. No, Melee would be 2 L's. Super Melee, but Melee's not spelt like that. Super Melee Martinez versus Elise Reed. How would you say Mely, please?
Don't know.
Right. This version of don't know or not trying is crap because you're more the announcing sort of you're better at words and stuff. Well, anyway, Melisa Martinez versus Elise Reed. I know that Reed won this because I can remember. And yeah, there you go. And after it, she was going, I'm here. I'll do it for you. Ready? Ready? I'm here. I'm here, strawweight. I'm here. That's the version. Exactly like that. So she's here. I actually thought that Melisa Martinez was actually all right. Wasn't too bad. You know what? They were both all right, but it was still a crap fight that I got bored of. But they were both okay. I tell you what, they were okay. Their martial arts skills, both of them looked half decent. You definitely could tell they train and stuff like that, which ain't always the case, as you know. So they did look okay. But you just heard this throughout the fight, like this, like. Because it was just weakness. Next fight. Chad, the monster, Anheliger versus Alatengheili, the Mongolian knight. Right. This, from memory, the Mongolian knight won this. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Was that decision as well?
Yeah.
This was a good fight. This was a good fight. And it wasn't amazing, but it was a good fight. And the commentary team were going on and on about Alatengheili. Do you know he's one?
I think you pronounced it right, yeah. Alatengheili, yeah.
Alatengheili, they were very talking about him a lot, right? Because he's powerful and this, that, and the other. Honestly, they were going on about him a lot and really ignoring Chad, I would say. If I was Chad, I'd be going, what's happened here? And you would think that means that he was getting mashed. Now he was, right? He was getting mashed. You can see on that picture on the right, look, you can see the blood coming out and everything. There was some pretty good shots going on. So he was getting done. I can't deny it. However, I think he's really good. I think he's a good fighter. He's got his own style. I think he was decent. And I don't think they chatted enough about how good or what Chad was doing, just because he was kind of losing on the power side of it. But he's got the good technique. You know, he has his shoulder here blocking things. He's got some good little bits of head movement. I like the way he mixed up his strikes. I actually was watching him, and he was more non-run of the mill. Whereas the Alatengheili, he's not crap, but he was what you expect to see. And the other guy had a bit of saying about him. He reminded me a little bit of Lando Venata, a little bit like that, but without the flowing boot. But very similar. You know, was getting done, but showed a lot whilst getting beaten up. Do you know what I mean? He's pretty good. They're both good, and it was a decent fight. So he won Alatengheili, the Mongolian knight, and it was a pretty good fight. And I'm guessing on all of these, you ain't got now to say. Do you remember if any of these other fights from these two? Have you got impressions of these two from previous fights you've seen?
I think I might have seen Anheliger before, and I've definitely seen Alatengheili, but I don't want to speak.
They got the same name.
They basically have, yeah. But yeah, I not enough to have a chat about it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that was a pretty good fight. That next fight is Norma, the Immortal Dumont versus Danyelle Wolf. Check out the Danyelle spelling.
Yep.
Like your beard trying to be non-run of the mill. Like a cheerleader thing. Now, what I'm going to say here is, right, she was off Contender Series and all that. This was, right, a Golden Glove, Danyelle Wolf, Golden Gloves boxing champ. So fist boxing, yeah, that's the experience. That's the discipline. Moved into MMA against Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. right?
Mm.
There's an example of her work, medals and stuff, right? That's what this fight was. Here's another example of, okay, well, she's got boxing gloves on, though.
Nah, you can leave it on that one.
You leave this one on for a bit?
Yeah. Looks
Okay,
like she uses the Philly shell. Yeah, uses the shoulder roll.
Exactly. I'll take a note of this slide number so we can get back to it quick, nice and quick when we need it. So I'm bringing that up on purpose. So because of that matchup, we're talking about, Golden Gloves. I'm a boxer against Jits. What would you say happened? I know you've got the result, but what would you say? How do you think that fight would have gone down then? Give me a couple of examples, scenarios.
Well, I mean, the two scenarios are one, the jiu-jitsu girl struggles to get the takedown and gets her face peppered. And the other one is the jiu-jitsu girl doesn't struggle to get the takedown and has a way with her on the mat. They're the two likely outcomes.
Yeah, no worries. Well, the girl in the grey is the Brazilian jiu-jitsu and the one in the blue is the boxer. And believe me, that's what this fight was like. The boxer got smashed.
Mm.
Look, not knocked out, but knocked down and punched hard regularly. Got done. Lost the fist. I'm going to ask you, and lost the fight. I want to ask a question, and I apologize because I always put you on the spot of this. We never plan any of this. The Golden Gloves thing. Roughly, do you know what that is? What it means? Roughly.
Not really. Nah. I mean, it's some sort of US based amateur tournament, I believe, right?
I guess.
But what it actually is. So, for example, over here, I think we have the ABAs, which is the if you're an ABA champion, it basically means like you're a national champion. But whether that's the same in America, I would highly doubt, just because of the scale of the country. And so the chances are, if you had, say, somebody who won all their bouts all the way in Maine, and then they had to travel all the way over to Oregon, to fight in the final, it's just, too much. So I think they probably have regional tournaments. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. This is purely guesswork. But I imagine just because of the size of America, right, that they probably have regional or state meets essentially. So, Texas, and if you win that tournament, you are like, the Golden Glove champion of Texas, maybe. I have no idea. That's just what I assume, because like I say, you couldn't have a national level, I wouldn't have thought, until you sort of like come up for Olympic selection or something like that. Just because, in this country, I remember when, say, my brother used to have amateur fights, we'd go all the way up to Stoke or something like that to have a fight, or wherever. Now, that was a few hours drive, but there's a big difference between a few hours drive and, like I say, having to travel halfway across America, right? You'd have to set off about 3 weeks in advance. So I imagine they don't probably have a similar setup to what we have. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea what Golden Gloves is. I've no.
Okay, well, look,
I can't say how prestigious it is. So
yeah,
it obviously means something, and it sounds pretty cool, right? I'm a Golden Gloves champion. Sounds amazing.
Does sound good, yeah.
The truth is, it could also just mean that, especially female boxing, it could also mean that she basically just beat 2 other girls and she's a national champion or something. So
right, okay, I got a question for you. Try not to go too mad, just because we don't want to, not that you're boring, but we don't want to bore people. But I do have a question about this, right? But first off, this Danyelle Wolf didn't look crap. Very similar to, honestly, was a bit similar to Holly Holm, not the exact same shout.
I thought you said not crap.
Wait, though. Okay, I knew I was going to get done for that. But she did look all right. But she, I mean, if you have a look at, say, but she did look all right. You know what I mean?
She has got a good fit, like, not because of that picture. I actually don't like pictures like that. But if you look at, the one when she's doing the double bicep, but yeah, I mean, she looks amazing.
Listen,
her shoulder definition there is fantastic.
Her physique is amazing, mate. Like, no joke, right? She looked like CrossFit. Holly Holm looks a bit CrossFit-y, right, as well.
She's a bit more sinewy, isn't she?
Yeah, this woman looks solid. She looked a bit like a cheerleader. She was tall, lean. I mean, she's definitely trains a lot, always has trained. She looks like someone who always trains. Now, look, she was okay, a little bit Holly Holm. You know, she had the shouts and all that as well. But my question to you is, if you look at the bottom right shot, I mean, look at that, getting cracked with that. What are those arms doing, right? But I've got a question for you.
It looks like she's doing the. It looks like she's doing the naked pose. So it looks like she's trying to recreate the naked pose in the bottom right picture.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Which is no problem. You don't have to try and recreate it. We got it. No bother, right? But my question to you is, it seemed like, because you've got Dumont, who's MMA striking, and BJJ, and she also did take this fight to the ground, I believe, in round 3 and elbowed her in the head. So she kind of done her with striking in round 1 and 2, and then some, you know, on the ground as well. So did a good mix of stuff. How much does this boxing, pure boxing skill? I know she does MMA now, but how does it? Why didn't it translate better? Why wasn't her? You would have thought her boxing would have mashed up Dumont, because it's not that Dumont can't strike. We know she trained striking, but you would have thought they were levels apart. But as you can see, she was getting it a lot. Now, a couple of things on the commentary. DC chatting about 10-ounce gloves, 4-ounce gloves. You can't roll like that because you shoulder roll like that and you ain't got 10-ounce gloves on and all that stuff. Any comments on why it didn't translate better for her? It weren't like Dumont was doing loads of kickboxing and spinning boot and everything. It was just, you know, normal striking, but it working.
Well, I can't say because I haven't seen the fight, so I ain't gonna.
Yeah, but in general, translating, you know, boxing into MMA striking.
I mean, I know people will say there's, you know, range and distance issues, right? Because you've got stuff like leg kicks and you've got to worry about takedowns as well. The gloves is a real thing because obviously in boxing you will use the glove as a sort of a buffer for, you know, defensive stuff, which you can't really afford to do that with, you know, kind of small little 4-ounce gloves. You've got to be really accurate to make sure that you're catching the shot completely perfectly. And even then, you know, going for a 4-ounce glove is, you know, going to create more impact than going for a 10-ounce glove or an 8-ounce.
Still hurt, right? When you block and it itches yourself, still hurts a lot, right?
Yeah. So you know, all those things are real. I think a lot of it depends on how confident the person is in the other disciplines. So if you're just boxing, but you've got one eye or always in the back of your head a concern of a takedown because you know your takedown defense is a bit ropey, or if someone does get you on the mat, you know, your neck's there for the taking, you're not really going to be focusing on your boxing, right? You're going to be focusing on those aspects more, going, oh, I can't afford to get taken down. These moments where you might think, oh, I could attack there, you're not going to attack. So you're going to think, but what if it don't, you know, what if she slips under and shoots in on double leg, then I'm going to be end up on my ass. So I just think it comes from a confidence kind of point of view as to how well it translates. Because if you look at people who have got good boxing, people like Pete Yang, it works beautifully.
Yeah.
That's because he's got confidence in the other aspects, right? He's got brilliant takedown defense. He's got his own good takedowns. And so he doesn't have to worry so much. He doesn't have to be distracted so much from his boxing. So he can just flow. He can just fight naturally. Doesn't even have to think about it. You know, one of the best boxing, Jailton Turner, for example. He's another guy, you know, the tarantula. Again, he just seems to be a guy who's like, well, I'll just do fist, and if you take me down, I've got other things to offer. I haven't got to panic. I haven't got to worry, so I can just fight. So maybe that's it. But it is possible that she's just not that good at boxing.
It wasn't. Well, of course, yeah. And as you say, and it wasn't. I was asking you generally, but it would be better had you'd seen the fight, of course, as you said. But it did seem like, looking at the two fighting, that Wolf had better boxing. It did seem like that, you know, the stance, the way she held her hands, the way she threw her punch, all of it looked better, but she was getting beat up. So it was a little bit weird, but it actually made for an all right fight. And if you're all good, we'll move on to the next fight. Oh, hey,
give me a couple of minutes. Now go on.
So that's that fight. Was all right, fairly interesting. Dumont won by, it was decision. Can you double check? It was decision,
yeah,
that
was,
win,
yeah.
right? Yeah. And we're on to the prelims. I'm presuming you've seen these fights, but we shall find out when I click the next slide. Okay, this was on the broadcast, so I know you've seen this. Jake, the prototype Collier versus Chris Beast Boy Barnett. Take it away. What are we saying here? Hey, you know what? This was good, wasn't it?
It was a good fight. Barnett unbelievably missed weight for a heavyweight fight. Weighed in, you know, pound and a half, whatever it is, overweight. I think 267.5 on it, and your limit's 265. You get a pound leeway. I think even at heavyweight, you get that pound leeway. But anyway, he missed weight, which is a surprise because you can see he's really, you know, shredded and cut himself down. Is, you know, I think there must be something wrong with the scales because I can't see any sort of anywhere else where he could have lost the pound.
He's got nowhere to go. There's nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah, I mean, it's
what do you want? You know?
That's all efficient muscle, right? So there must be something wrong with the scales. Jake, the prototype Collier. Well, a prototype is you make a prototype before deciding on whether you want to put something into mass production, right?
True.
I don't think they're going to be putting this into mass production. Having
well,
said
no, they
that,
have put it into mass production. He's definitely
one big mass production, just one big solid one. But honestly,
that's the bit he did agree.
I actually think he's all right, Jake Collier. I know he's fought at middleweight and stuff like that. I actually think he's pretty decent at heavyweight. It kind of shouldn't work. He should be massively undersized, and he possibly still is, especially if his opponent's coming in overweight. But I actually think he was pretty good, pretty snappy. You know, was standing in the pocket and trading, so you kind of had no issues about being maybe the naturally smaller guy. Whether he is the naturally smaller guy, I'm not sure, because Barnett could probably, if he ate right and trained right, he could probably get down to a lightweight. But
because he's not very tall, is he? He's short.
Not 5'9" or something like that.
Right.
5'9".
Okay, well there you go. Yeah.
I mean, if he decided to do a cannoneer, I'm sure he could get down to welterweight at least. But you know, he ain't gonna. So
he couldn't get down to heavyweight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got to get down to heavyweight first. But I actually thought this was a really exciting fight. Back and forth.
Wasn't it
good? Collier, I think, went all out for the finish in the first round. Blew his gasket and struggled late thereon. And that kind of, I'm not going to say it led to the finish, but I do think he was out of puff. And that probably, if he hadn't rocked Barnett early in the fight and unloaded on him and just had a bit more of a, you know, structured sort of energy expenditure throughout the fight, he probably would have got a decision. I think I get the feeling if these two fought 10 times, Collier would probably win 6 or 7 of them. But Barnett rode the storm. His mouth looked all smashed in. He said his jaw was smashed in after the fight.
He's come back now. He said his jaw ain't mashed. That's what the commentary was saying. He said that the inside of his cheek, the chunk of that had come out, where he said he probably bit down on one of the punches, the Collier punches and whatever, and there was a chunk out of his cheek. So that was the face he was doing was him trying to. He's just biting the inside of his cheek, you know, playing with it, if you like. So he said there was a chunk of flesh out of his inside of his cheek. That's what it was. He ain't got a broken jaw out. Yeah,
well, that's good news. So yeah, a really good fight, entertaining fight. Like I said, I still think that skill set wise, I'd probably just say that Collier is probably a bit of a tidier package, but that don't matter sometimes. And Barnett was brilliant. You know, didn't feel sorry for himself. Didn't do a Leon Edwards. Didn't feel sorry for himself in the corner. Went out there, got to win. You know, really exciting fight. Good for him. Good chance as well at the end. You know,
it was good chat.
I know he said he's got a lot of padding and stuff, but that celebration where he landed on his backside, I just looked at it and I just went, one day, that is just. He's gonna do a Johnny Walker with that. He's gonna end up in hospital with that. That is sooner or later something's gonna smash, you know, in his back there. I mean, honestly, I'd really advise him not to repeat that too often.
Well, he does it every time. If he you're hoping he don't win then, because I think if he wins, that's the
No,
agreement.
I actually like him. Like I said, I thought his chats were brilliant at the end of the fight. Really passionate. We said it before, didn't we, about people making the most of the moment. And look, I hate this dance. I hate it. It's only actually it's brilliant. I've changed my mind.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? Stuff like this will next time he's on a card, people will go, he's the guy who, was drinking the beer afterwards or done that dance.
Right.
Or you have to make the most of these moments. And these people that moan and go, oh yeah, well, I'm not getting the shine or what have you, or the good graces of the UFC. It's like, well, you kind of got to help yourself sometimes. And if it don't come naturally to you, I'm not suggesting you start doing somersaults and landing on your ass and stuff if that's not you. But some people have just got that charisma and that draw, and he's one of those guys, right? He's also got that appeal because he seems like a little undersized guy fighting all the big bullies, at heavyweight. So he's kind of got a lot going for him. Brilliant. He's got a lot going for him, and he, like I say, he made the most of it. Good for him.
We see what I mean, though, right? We agreed it about Tuivasa. We don't like the shoey; it's getting on our nerves. And then we went, no, we do like it because it's now something to associate Tuivasa's fighting, shoeys, blah blah blah. And it's the same with this guy.
Well, look, he's doing stage, right, and everyone's got their mobile phones out trying to catch a picture of him and have a selfie with him. He made the most of that moment. So good for him. He deserves it because he lost half his cheek for it. And probably broke his his coccyx or his pelvis.
Yeah, I should think so.
Yeah. So he deserved it, and a shame for Collier because I think he's got a bit of a ropey record since he went to heavyweight, and I definitely don't want to see him cut. Cause I actually think he's one of the tidier looking heavyweights, style wise and stuff. I actually think he's good, unbelievable, but he's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I do as well, and that's why the reason Barnett won that fight is simply because the grit and determination and not giving up. He could have easily lost that, and he didn't. He found a way to win by surviving and doing what he needed to do. Was it second round TKO, something like that?
Yeah. I think Collier kind of shot him for a takedown. Barnett sprawled, ended up on top, and then it was just. To be fair to him, Collier really was trying to move. When there's a few times I think the ref said,
as well. Yeah,
there's a few times where the ref said, you got to improve your position, but he just spent about 2 minutes on the bottom, didn't he? And he was eating some heavy leather at times, and it was just like, you're not going to get out of this, are you? You just haven't got the breath. You wish you were back at middleweight. So that was
enjoyable.
Yeah, really good fight. Really
good. And Barnett has given us things to chat about. And he's given everybody stuff to remember and recognize and look forward to when he fights again. And that is important. And we've said this before, and we all know this, but they can't wear their own shorts and Chuck Liddell ice shorts and all that. Can't do all that. So they all look the same, right? But he don't. He's short. He's big. He looks weird him doing, because he's got some, I tell you, he's got some good kicking. Tell you now, the guy can kick good. He's got good boot him, and so he does things that are a little bit weird, like very athletic for a guy that looks like that. He's got a good personality. He's bubbly. When he gets his opportunity, he does chats. He don't mumble into the mic. He comes alive and he chats. And all of these things, regardless of where he is on that card, will make you remember him, and they will move him up that card because people want to see that. They'll pay to see that sort of thing, and that will move him up that card. Quick and all, as long as he wins fights, even if he don't win,
especially at heavyweight, talent starved division.
Yeah,
and he might not have the. Unfortunately, he might not have the. I'm not even going to say the fighting skills. I'm going to say the physique and the tools to make the most of his fighting skills.
The physical attributes, right?
Yeah, to sort of make the most of his marketability and stuff like that. So kind of got these things where you're like, this guy's like a really exciting fighter, but he's got no charisma, something like that. Or they might be a really boring fighter, but they got some charisma, Chiasson, for example. And so, but I think that he's one of those guys where he's fun and marketability are going to probably be a bit higher than what he's.
Right, absolutely.
His physical attributes allow him to achieve.
Imagine a fight between him and Tuivasa, the two stars.
You know what? That would be good. That would be good.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. You're happy to see this bloke fight again, right? And to Ivasa.
Oh, yeah, you know that the loser would be doing a shoey or down in a pint of beer with the other one, doing a crap dance. I mean, Tuivasa does crap dances as well. That's the fight to make. I know Tuivasa's way ahead of him, but just make that fight anyway.
Yeah, he is at the moment. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But I think he's brilliant. So
yeah,
he's been agreed. And look, he said that the canvas, the octagon, is softer than you think and stuff like that, so it takes some of the strain out of that win pose. But that win pose, you're on a hide into injury. There is no doubt that is a very strange thing to do. But again, it's a striking visual that makes you go, bloody hell, you know, if he continues to do it.
It didn't make me go, bloody hell. It kind of made me go, bloody hell. You know, there's a difference.
Well, of course, yeah, you kind of,
yeah, that got to hurt, yeah, for sure.
Let's have some other ones. Gaethje, backflip off the cage, always makes me go, GSP,
Michael Chandler,
knees bending in.
Yeah, Michael Chandler's got the same problem with his feet not landing flush on the floor.
Yeah, and then
the classic one, obviously, Johnny Walker actually really injuring himself.
Actually smashing his shoulder out, yeah.
So, yeah, there are a few. Brad Pickett, when he used to run up and do the spin, that's the best one. But I always used to think one day, I know he doesn't do it up the cage, but I always thought he's just going to get one of his toes caught in the cage or something like that. And
it's possible. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, risky. Risky. The win celebrations are good, right? They make it exciting and all that. But you don't have to do... There's other win celebrations you could do that are just as amazing.
All right.
Right?
Oh, yeah, that one. Right? What about Hen and Brown?
Oh,
that's the worst one ever.
Yeah, well, what about?
I hated that guy because of that. I was like, I really hope I don't win, so I've got to put up with. Here's that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say OSP.
OSP, yeah, that's that
terrible
one. Yeah,
I flipping hate that move. What's that move? But speaking of Barral, my favourite, Anderson Silva. What about the guitar thing he used to do?
Oh, yeah.
Betch's got a good one. Look, we'll do a separate podders on it. We got to move on, right? We've got to move on. That were good. That
just goes to show you, right? We've just spoke for like 15 minutes on the first fight on the prelims. Why? Now, I bet you, I don't know what the next fight is, but put it up. I bet it ain't going to be 15 minutes. I'll put it up.
You make a very, very good point, though. Absolutely. You are absolutely bang on. Denis Tiuliulin versus Jamie the Nightwolf Pickett.
It was all right, but I ain't got much to say about this fight.
Me neither.
Right.
It was okay.
Well, I'll just sum it up quickly. That Pickett, he seems a bit timid in the cage, a bit easily
bullied.
Bullied around the cage. Yeah, and I think that's what that Tiuliulin basically did in the end. He just basically went, I can unload on this guy. And I think he got a point taken off, which I think was an unfair point. I think it was for a couple of low strikes, maybe. He had a point taken off, and after that, he just kind of went through caution to the wind, didn't he? And I mean, that Pickett. I mean, when you look at him, good physique, looks like a big, strong guy, especially at that weight. He just looks intimidated. Is the truth. He gets in there, and it's almost like he's trying to fight people off rather than fight people. So, so good win for this fella, Tiuliulin. I've forgotten that referee's name, Mark Beltran. I mean, they might want to get him an ECG.
Well, hang on. Mark Beltran.
Joey Beltran? No, that's the fighter, Joey. Who is it? It is Beltran, though, isn't it?
Mike, I think, isn't it?
Mike. Well, it's close enough, Mark. Is there a fight called Mark Beltran?
Yeah, he's on the screen now.
Joey Beltran was the heavyweight guy, right?
Yeah. The one who... No, he weren't heavyweight. Was he heavyweight or was he 205?
And then he went down to light heavy, didn't he? Joey Beltran. Anyway, doesn't matter. I think he does bare knuckle now. But anyway,
let's just stick with Mr. Beltran.
Yeah, Mr. Beltran will do. Anyway, I mean, that is I mean, you can picture him sitting on a toilet trying to squeeze out a particularly stubborn turd. with that face.
Yeah, I bet he does have some, doesn't he?
And he must do. He's a bit of a unit, isn't he?
I think he's. I'm not 100%. You know, obviously we don't know these things, so I don't want to chat too much about it. But I think he's a military guy, I believe, an ex-military bloke. So yeah,
He
he's
looks brilliant. Yeah,
he does look brilliant, doesn't he? Yeah.
I've seen pictures of him on Twitter, you know, just like when he's out and about and stuff. I'm like, he looks amazing. You know, he's the kind of guy that if I saw on the street, I go, he looks wicked. You know, looks like some sort of old warrior or something like that. But
yeah, does do.
yeah,
Yeah, like Asterix or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he looks like Obelix, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Actually, that's a good one. He does look like Obelix. Yeah.
But he
now,
go on.
He won this Tiuliulin. What was it? A decision? I'm sorry, or was it TKO? I can't remember.
No, he got TKO, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah.
Can you double check that?
TKO at the end of round 2. So he got the point. He got the point taken off,
and he went nuts, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and then he went a bit crazy.
Oh yeah, he got him up against the cage and kept going. Kneed him in the face, pulled him down for a knee. That dropped Pickett, and then he, you know, followed up with a few strikes. Yeah. All right, I remember. Pretty sure that was the fight. Might not be, but there you go. Next one.
Yep.
Okay, you can see this got performance of the night. Jailton, Maladino Almeida versus Anton, the pleasure man, brilliant. Turkalj.
Gigolo or something.
I get all these wrong. It might not be his nickname. Right. Now, the muscle business, the Jailton Almeida, he dealt with this pretty easily, right? A jits sort of bloke. But is this guy, and there's a lot of hype on him now, it seems. Everyone's going a bit nuts over him. But is this another guy that's going to get exposed at some point, you know, and with his lack of all-round skills, and he's going to have no breath in round 3? And you know, what are we saying?
Well, firstly, it was catch weight.
That's a bit of prediction. You know, I can't predict what's going to happen in the future. But what I'm saying is he looked wicked against this guy. I'm not saying that Turkalj is crap. I ain't saying that. The guy looked impressive. There's no doubt about it. He went in, done his job, dealt with it. But I ain't going to go nuts because, like we said about Chimaev before, I ain't seen this guy tested with, you know, breath and all sorts yet. You know, we'll see.
Well, I think it says it was a catch weight at 220 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
didn't look that big, did they? Blimey.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, to me, they look like welterweights or middleweights.
Yeah. Yeah,
so I'm a little bit confused by that. But, you know, the pleasure man did look a bit smaller, to be fair. I think he came in on short notice. I think they mentioned that on the broadcast.
Yeah, rings a bell.
I thought he'd done an all right job of you know, fighting off the ground of this Almeida. And I think he just got caught with only 30 seconds left to go in the round. And for me, that was a shame because I wanted to see exactly what you're saying. I wanted to see this Almeida come out round 2. What's he like? What are his shots? What are his takedowns like round 2? Are they still, you know, powerful? Is he still powerful in round 2 when he's got to stand up? Maybe when he gets a jab in the face or something like that. But we didn't get to see that because he sorted it. But I certainly wouldn't be, you know, next time he gets a matchup, I wouldn't be popping down the bookies and going, well, I'll stick 10 quid on that Almeida because he looked amazing. So, no, like you, I didn't really see anything standing up because we didn't have a chance to, right? It's not a knock on him. We just didn't have a chance to. And I did get the impression, I thought, you know what? If this went to round 2, I think this other guy could have, you know, you remember like Rodolfo Vieira, you know, great jiu-jitsu guy, but once it gets out of round 1, once it gets out of round 1, he's screwed basically. And I just want to see whether this guy falls into that category or whether he falls into, like you say, the Chimaev category, who can actually fight hard for 3 rounds or what have you. So didn't really get to see enough. What we did see was good, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. And absolutely. Very, very impressive. But it's just looking at the physique. Look, sometimes they can go against that. So Jacare's another one where you'd go, oh, he's gonna be gassed out and all. But he was good, you know. He was good. But you know, this guy, look at his bod. I mean, he's muscle business. Is he going to be able to keep up all this? Like you say, he weren't wrestling. He was jiu-jitsu, I think. So I don't know. We'll see. He's had other fights in UFC, right? He's saying he's first. But what were they? You got a list there, please?
No, I ain't got a list. I really can't remember.
But would you mind having a look? Because this ain't his first fight, and I want to know what's happened in the other ones. Has he been round 3? Did he just mash them all in round 1? And who were they?
17 wins, 2 losses.
Nice.
Oh, go on. That's it. That's all I can see, because Sherdog always wants me to agree to cookies, and I ain't doing it.
Well, ban them.
So, yeah, but they put a big message across the screen, and so I can't see. No.
Well, you're not very good at that job then, are you, of checking who he had a fight with and how many
So
UFC
he beat Parker Porter, who's that big, meaty...
Oh, with
heavyweight.
the handlebar tosh.
That's it, yeah. So he beat him. So he's obviously is a... Well, yeah. Bizarre, right?
Yeah. What's happening here?
So...
Huh. Okay. This... Right. You see, these things, what are we saying here? You know, what, fighting at heavyweight and... I don't know. All right. Well, the jury's still out, but that performance was...
He's won his 3 UFC fights, I believe, so...
Okay. Who against and in what round? I told you. I don't know.
Well, Park Porker was round 1.
Yeah.
And Danilo Marquez was round 1. So that's why people are obviously getting carried away, right? Because no one can get out round 1. And this guy came the closest to getting out round 1. This gigolo. But
gigolo, yeah.
But you know, like you say, we'll need to see when he gets in there with someone who can resist the takedown or two. That's when we'll really find out. And also, what weight class is he going to be? Looks like he's going to struggle to lose much more weight to get to 205. And if he's a heavyweight, he's drastically undersized. So, be interesting to see.
It's a difficult finishing fights. We've seen that. Very, very difficult job. And he's finishing them in the first round. That is impressive. But we've said it before. What's more impressive is seeing what people can deal with and the adversity they go through. And like you said about Chimaev, once you saw the Burns fight, you went, okay, now I think he's real deal. You know, you saw more in that fight than you did in the ones where he just picked blokes up, took them over and strangled them or whatever. When
that's
you saw that fight,
right? Because most people were the other way around. They watched the Gilbert Burns fight and they went, I've seen chinks in the armor now. Maybe Chimaev ain't as big a deal as we thought he was. Whereas I watched that fight and went, no, he showed me that he can strike.
Better.
He can take a fight. He can take a punch and keep on swinging. That he's got, a gas tank for 3 rounds to fight a hard 3 rounds. He doesn't take a backward step. He's got a real good fighter's mentality. I learned all those things about him I didn't know before. All this sort of like, oh yeah, but he got decked or whatever. It's like, anyone can get pinged and knocked down. What is Anderson Silva crap because he got knocked down by Sonnen or Bisping or whatever? No, of course not. So he's nothing to me. So, but the other stuff that he proved to me that I didn't know before did mean stuff. So
that's what we're waiting for. That's what we're waiting for with Almeida, right? That's all.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, if he does his whole career and has 50 fights and he does them all in the first round, all right. Well, he's brilliant. He's brilliant, right? Because he didn't have to prove that he's that good, but that doesn't often tend to be the case, right? Because people are good. So other people are good. So we'll see. Next fight. Hakeem Dawodu versus Julian Juicy Erosa. This Juicy J bloke keeps winning, doesn't he?
Well, I owe him an apology.
Do you?
And I know he listens to the show. I owe him an apology.
Well, you can air it now. No problem.
Well, I actually think I said that I thought this was a bit of a mismatch. I was like, Dawodu has had some good fights, some good wins. And I thought he was just sort of higher up the ladder than Erosa. And Erosa, I'm not going to say he's chinny, but he's quite easy to hit, right? Because he's so aggressive. And he kind of keeps his hands low and stuff like that. And I honestly just thought he was going to get banged out by Dawodu. I thought it was going to be a pretty easy night's work, if I'm being honest. And it was anything but. The only person who looked like they're going to get knocked out was Dawodu. And Erosa was brilliant because he not only won the striking battle, but he also won the grappling exchanges as well. So it was really, for me, it was really surprising. When he didn't finish in that first round, when he caught Dawodu really good, I went, you've blown your chance now, kid. You're probably going to get done in this fight. He didn't just come out 1 round 2 and 3 as well. So I was like, right, okay. So you're just better than Dawodu. I mean, I was really quite surprised by it, if I'm being honest. And, Erosa has a very contentious loss to Paddy Pimblett in Cage Warriors. He lost that fight on a decision, but that was a hotly disputed one. I think I remember watching it and thinking, Yeah, that was a dodgy decision. I think it might be the one where Pimblett threw up in the cage after the fight.
Right. Yeah.
So I think he had some issues in that fight. But that's quite an interesting little match. I don't know if they're the same weight anymore. I don't think they are. But
I can't
anyway,
see it. Surely not. No.
well,
Pimblett's
this
got
was
to be
again
right.
another catch weight of 149.5 pounds.
What this fight was? Okay,
Yeah.
so you're right. It is a Pimblett weight then, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Is he Pimblett?
Dawodu missed weight basically.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, I know what you're saying skill-wise. You're right about Erosa and the way he fights. He can definitely leave himself open to being hit, but it does mean that he's in the fight and he's putting himself in the range to hit as well. And that's why he has fights where things happen, if you know what I mean. Sometimes he can be on the wrong end of it, but he's in there to have a fight. I actually think he's all right, isn't he?
I think he's good because he's been in the UFC before. He lost to Ishihara and then was he was in the McGregor Faber finale and he won that fight. Then he lost to Ishihara, then went away, then came back, won on the Contender Series, but had 3 fights in the UFC and lost all 3 of them against Devontae Smith, Grant Dawson, and Julio Arce. Went away, won a fight away from the UFC, got a call back, and since then has won 5 out of 6. And
look at that great info.
But the thing about that is I like that when people go away and, if you like, improve and come back better. He's got wins over, the Nate train, Nate Landwehr.
Oh, yeah, he's a big deal at the minute, isn't he? Because he's having exciting fights or whatever.
That's right, yeah. And he's got a win over Charles Jourdain, who's obviously
the best. Yeah, he's wicked, yeah.
Yeah, Dawodu. I mean, these are good, impressive wins, I have to say. So he's done really good to sort of go away, reinvent himself, and come back better. Brilliant.
Good for him. Absolutely fantastic. And like you say, it made for an amazing fight, but it was intriguing. It was good. All right.
Yeah, it was.
It puts a lot of effort in.
Yeah, exactly. Erosa, he's not one of those guys who will try and point strike his way to a win or take the easy option. He's goes in there and has a smash. It's just one of those weird things because, again, he looks like someone who's going to, I don't know, whatever, bring up your groceries for you or, I don't know, valet your car. He don't look like a guy who's, punches people's lights out for a living. But
you're right. If you look at it's not that he's got a bad bod there or anything, but you're absolutely right. If you look at the comparisons, he definitely trains and everything. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm with you. So that's the prelims done of UFC 279. That's all good. Anything else to say on these prelims?
No, already said too much.
All right. In that case, we'll
stop the channel.
We could do that, but we've already agreed that we can't do that because of Colin. We've got to carry on. Because of Colin.
Bailey.
And Kieran Bailey, of course, the classic. That's right. Look, that's the prelims done. Let's move on to the main card. So this is the main card chat for UFC 279 Diaz versus Ferguson. And we'll get straight into it. No messing about. First fight on the main card is Johnny Walker versus Ion the Hulk Cutelaba. Performance of the night. I think I know why it's performance of the night because, Walker don't really have... he don't have good fights anymore, really, does he? But he... I don't know, I say, well, they both needed this, didn't he? Ain't Cutelaba got done a couple of times in a row?
Oh, more than a couple. He's only won 2 of his last 8.
Right. And Walker, he's got done a couple, hasn't he?
The problem with Cutelaba, I'd say he's had a real rough ride. For a guy who he came into the UFC, he lost his debut, then he won one, then he lost, then he won one, then he won one more, and it seems ever since then he's been just like elevated to just fighting really tough fighters, and it obviously ain't working out for him. And I think if someone said to me, how many wins is he going to get out of this run of fighters, I probably would say about 2. Because if you listen to who he's been fighting,
let's go.
Okay, you tell me whether you because you won't remember, right? Whether you think he won or lost. Glover to Shearer.
No, he would have got done. He would have got jitzed.
Yeah, you got choked out, but don't take too long over these. Khalil Roundtree.
No, Roundtree would have smashed his teeth out.
No, he knocked Roundtree out in the first round.
Well, you're right. I won't remember. Go on.
Ankalaev.
No, Anheliger definitely done him. He does everyone for some reason.
Where he's done him twice. Do you remember they had the rematch?
Oh yeah, the rope-a-dope fight.
Yeah, exactly. He pretended he was all smashed in, but he wasn't, and the ref stopped it. Dustin
They had a
Jacoby.
rematch and he got done even worse.
Dustin Jacoby.
No, Jacoby done him because Jacoby's done a comeback and keeps winning fights. Jacoby won.
Well, that was a draw. Devin Clark.
Devin Clark. That's I know that he's the same as David Branch and all that. He's another same. But I'm going to say that he done Clark.
He did, yeah. Ryan Spann.
Nah, Spann. He ended up in a main event. Spann must have done him.
Yeah, it wasn't a main event though. And Johnny Walker.
He ended up in a main event. So he trajectory was higher. Not you see, I don't remember the fight. I'm going off of what happened later. Go on, Spann done him.
Yeah, and then Walker.
Well, this is the one now. I can remember this one. Walker done him.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying, though, right? He only seems to be fighting top 10 kind of guys, right? On a similar note, I mean, Johnny Walker had lost 4 of the 5 before he fought Cutelaba. His only win was against Ryan Spann, which I think that was a bit of a come from behind victory.
Sure, he was all over the gaff, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then just sort of pulled it out of the fire. But outside of that, he's lost to Corey Anderson, Nikita Krylov, Thiago Santos, who I think is now signed with PFL, and Jamal Hill. So they've both had tough runs, but they've also been getting done in those tough runs. They've both been getting beat. Yeah. So as you say, this was almost had a bit of a loser leaves town kind of feel to it, which I hope is not the case, because I actually think for light heavyweights, both of them are decent, exciting fighters. But it had that feel to it. I like
watching both these guys, yeah, of course.
But yeah, I do fear that Cutelaba is going to be, if he's got another fight in his contract, obviously he's definitely going to need to win that, because he's going to be, feeling the burn, no doubt about it. Did you see that Johnny Walker got thrown out the arena, didn't he? Without his clothes and everything after the fight.
Oh yeah, his feet out and everything.
Yeah, he was wearing exactly what he's wearing now. He was walking the street.
Yeah, gloves as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got let out or went out, and I believe he didn't get thrown out. He just couldn't find his way back in. It was locked up, and they wouldn't let him in. He just couldn't get back in. It was done. If you know what I mean.
I'm sure if he went to the normal entrance, they'd let him in. He was fighting in the cage 10 minutes earlier.
I think I don't know. It's saying I don't know. I can't remember, but I don't think he got dashed out. I think he ended up outside for whatever reason. But Yeah,
but he was with.
But ain't done nothing wrong, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was with Kavanaugh. I'm sure somebody somewhere could have got that guy back into the arena. It's ridiculous. But
that
anyway,
does sound silly. Yeah, true. But listen, next time you speak to Mr. Walker, ask him the detail.
All right.
We'll get him on here to have a chat about it.
Yeah, he loves the show. Right.
So it turns out that was an all right fight. That when what's his name? John Kavanagh will be happy with Walker getting a win, and he did the worm celebration on the shoulder. Was you cringing at that?
What's that? Sorry.
He did the worm celebration.
I don't think that's when he done his shoulder though. Was it when he fell backwards like that?
What he used to do was the worm from standing. So you'd fall. He still fell front.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
He'd do it from standing and then bang.
Yeah.
Didn't do it from standing. He just did a worm.
No,
but I still was looking at it going, no.
Nah, that worm. You ain't gonna do your shoulder from doing that. You are if you thought, do what he does, like say sort of face plant, and then you sort of the impact in your whole body.
Right.
Not just
the worm ain't good enough to take a risk when you've already mashed your shoulder. It's not a good enough win celebration. I tell you what, right? I tell you what, it isn't. It's not that. It's not worth it. And we're saying this ain't worth it at all. So I just don't think the worm is a good enough move to jeopardize shoulder.
Can you do the worm?
Well, Now, funnily enough, in my breakdancing days, it's known as the caterpillar in the breaking world, and it was my move. My bro, his was the turtle. You know that one? Put your hands here.
Yeah.
His was the turtle. That was his.
What? And he can actually spin round with his feet off the floor.
Yeah.
No,
He's
don't
good at
believe
it,
it.
right?
No,
Yeah,
no.
when next time you see him, we'll ask him to do it, right?
There's
Turtle
no way
was
he's going to
his.
be able to do it now. It's like 30 years ago.
Don't matter, right? I can still do caterpillar, right? And the
But we'll
hick
see about that.
was knee spin, but it had to be with this. So on the knee, then this. But to be fair, it weren't good, right? But it was his move. So his best move still weren't good. But because he had washing up gloves on, cut down, and he did this bit, he made it good because it was his version of a knee spin, and mine was caterpillar. I only had one move, but it weren't crap. But I didn't do it from standing. But there you go. So yeah, can you do caterpillar or worm?
No, I can't do anything.
Not tried it. Have you?
No. Well, I've not tried it, but I doubt I can do it, and I have no desire to try.
Right, well, you're interesting. Yeah. Look, the truth is, all that chat is going to leave people not wanting to chat about you, not wanting to see you again. There's certainly you're not doing this, and this is the problem, right? This is interesting. This is exciting. This is we're going to watch you again, and you saying I got no desire to do it means we've got to move to the next fight. A performance of the night. Again, another performance of the night, which confused me at the time of doing this. Irene Aldana versus Macy Chiasson. Was this that weird fight where Chiasson was winning but then lost?
Yeah, another catch. Another catch fight. Yeah, that's it. And it was the liver kick.
Yeah. Interesting. Good. Do you think she meant it? No. Or was it just legs flailing and caught the right spot?
There's legs flailing. I no doubt that she wanted to kick her at that time in the stomach or something like that, or in that area.
Where if her head was there, it would have been the head, right? Whatever.
All this
sort of in the way.
When she said we practice it, it's like I'm sure you do probably practice, throwing your legs up and stuff like that. But I don't think she saw, there's an opening there to get a liver shot in. Bang, have some of that. That I do very much dispute. But it was weird because all of a sudden she crumpled up on the floor, didn't she? Chiasson, she just crumpled up on the floor, and it looked. I thought it might be something like a broken rib or something like that, but it was kind of bizarre because even on the first couple of watches, it didn't really look like much had landed. It almost looked like the foot hadn't connected with her, and so it's kind of weird that. Didn't really kind of understand. And the crowd were, I think, a little bit bemused, right? Because the crowd was silent and everyone was like, what's going on here? Is the fight been stopped?
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously you've caught a nice little screen grab of it there, and you can see why it did cause us some discomfort because that's when it helps to have a Chris Barnett or a Daniel Cormier bod.
Of course it does, right? Because you got cushion in there, right? The thing is, it was only, as you say, in a slow motion replay that you saw the damage caused, as in you saw the rippling reverberation going through the bod into an organ. Then you could see it and go, all right, I can see how that hurt. But like you say, normal speed and whatever with a fight going on, I didn't know what was going on either. And we normally do before the commentary team do, you know what I mean? We don't normally need the truck. I can't deny it. I needed the truck.
I needed the truck.
Yeah. So Chiasson was winning this fight. We can agree with that, weren't we? She definitely was winning this fight.
I believe so. Yeah, she lost round 1, if I remember rightly. She lost round 1, or I believe she lost round 1, but then she won rounds 2 and was winning round 3 until that happened. So, yeah.
Do we think this Aldana's actually all right? I do think she's quite good.
I think she's okay. Yeah, she's won 4 of the last 5. Unbelievably, she lost the decision against Holly Holm. Who doesn't lose a decision to Holly Holm, right? Just bores you into not submission because that would
maybe that's what they do. They go, I can't bother with this fight anymore. Just give it a decision. I'm just gonna forget it. Can't be bothered. Yeah, well, she'll be in the next fight should have to be a main event anyway. So nothing you can do about that.
What, home?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll probably be for a belt and all. I don't know if she's got some dirt on Dana or what, or on Shelby or Maynard, or she's got some dirt on someone.
Yeah, there could be some truth in it.
I actually think the thing is, when she first burst onto the scene, Holm, I did think she was amazing. I did think she was good. You know, like
So did I.
someone who really did look like a well-trained, well-schooled fighter. But now she just seems to be doing the same move over and over again, once around, and then the rest of the time she's just sort of shadow boxing.
I thought she looked all right as well because you could see she had decent movement. You could see her stance look normal, unlike, say, Misha Tate or whatever. You know, she looked like she could fight, looked like she trains. Bod was amazing, looked like she's very fit and strong and agile. And for a boxer, she was coming in and she had, you know, decent, really basic kicking. But her kicking was good as well, you know?
Yeah, kicking's good, yeah. Her grappling was decent as well. Everything. She was exciting. It's almost... I don't know. Anyway,
look, the first, let's go to the next fight, right? The first of the Daniel Cormier remix fights. And it's Leader Leach Jing Yang versus Daniel D. Rodriguez. This is the one where you said it's only out of all the remix fights. This is the one where you thought was a little bit unfair, and fair play for Jing Yang for taking this fight. And not because anyone wants D. Rod to lose or whatever. A bit of a shame, though, that he ended up losing it. But I suppose it don't matter because it's a short notice replacement. He's fighting someone who's bigger than him, so it won't change any so-called stock going down and stuff like that. But my question is, do you think he lost the fight?
Well, firstly, I think in a way, this is the outcome was not necessarily that bad, right? Jing Lang doesn't lose, as you said, lose any stock because he actually put up a good performance against someone a lot bigger than him and arguably won the fight. And Rodriguez doesn't have a loss on his record. He beat a guy who you could say he was expected to beat because of the weight advantage. And so, if you like, both of them are just kind of still in the same position they were before the event, which I know for these guys isn't going to be what they want, right? You have fights to elevate your position, not to just stay the same.
Sure.
But at least none of them have lost out, let's say. Now, I ain't going to go into the whole suit debacle. Don't care about the suit. Even though
didn't you send me the suit clip and say?
No, that was Gav. Gav sent you the suit clip.
Okay.
And I agree that he did look wicked in the suit, and we've done a chat about it.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden it's just become like Jing Lang's persona. He's the suit guy. It's like boring.
Well,
anyway, regardless, honestly, this was one of those fights where I felt like no one could complain at the outcome. If you ask me who did I score it for, I lean towards Jing Lang.
Yeah,
and
me
not
too.
Because I had any kind of natural bias towards him wanting to win because he was the hard done by guy and find someone.
No, of course
didn't
not.
care about any of that. Don't have a preference about. I really like Jing Lang, but I don't dislike Rodriguez. I
like D-Rod. No, I think he's good. Yeah.
I had no preference, no bias, no nothing. I just watched the fight as a fight. As if that was the fight that was always supposed to be made, and I think I lean towards Jing Lang. If I was scoring it, I'd probably be giving him the fight 29-28. But it was one of those ones where I went, if it goes 29-28 Rodriguez, no problem at all with that either. I think even in the fight stats it was the striking I still think favoured Lee. I'm just going to call him Lee for now.
David Lee? David Jing Lee? Who is that?
No, they favoured Lee. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
They favoured Lee. He had the advantage, but a lot of those were leg kicks. And as we know, judges seem to have a preference to score higher value on face strikes or head strikes. So Rodriguez had the advantage on head strikes. So maybe that's why he got the decision, just because he landed more head strikes, which just seem to be scored higher. That's it.
They need something to make the decision, and they went that swings it for us, and like you say, it's okay.
He was also the aggressor for most of the fight. When I say the aggressor, he wasn't being particularly aggressive. He was holding the center of the cage.
It weren't very good, was it?
No, honestly, it was a really boring fight, that one.
It was crap, yeah. But does Jing Yang think he won or not, going off of that shot?
Yeah, I mean, he does look a little bit hard done by, I have to say.
a bit bemused, right?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. Huh?
Really? Yeah, well.
Yeah, and obviously he was on, I think, Helwani or something like that the next day with a t-shirt
He was,
on with
yeah.
robbed written across the vest or the t-shirt, or
Right.
whatever he was wearing.
Yeah.
It weren't a robbery. Just in no way was that a robbery. It was, look, do I think Jinlang won? Yeah. Dana White's come out afterwards and said he felt that Lee won as well.
But it's okay regardless, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, but
To him,
it's
it won't be. It's a loss on his record, right? He'll still be annoyed about it.
I know why he's got the ump about it, especially because he feels like all the chips were stacked against him. And then he sort of should have won the fight, or in most people's opinion, won the fight. But out of the 3 people ringside that actually matter, 2 of them said you didn't. And so he loses everything, right? Probably don't get a win bonus, doesn't get, just like say, gets a loss on his record, stops a little bit of the momentum and all that, even though it's not his natural weight class. But
it won't do that.
I just don't think it was a fight that anyone could complain about the decision. If D-Rod lost, I don't think he could complain. And
I think
he can complain.
Yeah, I think maybe the T-shirt and the comments are not just that fight, but the whole situation. He feels a bit, hard done by, which is fair enough, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right. Well, look, it like you said, it changes nothing for either of these two. Yes, it's going to be a loss on his record, but there's no way the organisation are going to go, well, you've lost now. That takes you back a few steps. It's a clean slate, I think.
Yeah, but let's put it like this, though. I won't talk about it now properly because we'll get onto it. But I'm pretty certain if he fought his original opponent, he'd have got a win bonus.
You're right. Agreed. And yeah, okay. Well, we're on to the next remix fight then, which is Khamzat Boars Chimaev. I don't know what that Boars is. Do we know what the Boars is?
I thought it was the Wolf or something, wasn't he? Have I got that wrong?
Have I been sick again? Anyway, versus Kevin Trailblazer Holland. That's the next remix fight, co-main event. Chimaev losing weight. Just so you know, I don't know if you do know this. Even if you don't actually know this, you will still know this. But Dolce has come out and said he'll fix the problem. No worries. You know what I mean?
Dolce?
Yeah. Got him out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, there you go. It is wolf. Boars means wolf in Chechen.
Wolf, yeah?
Yeah. Well, it says the name Boars, Chechen, wolf, is an umbrella term applied to all improvised submachine guns produced during the years of independence of the Chechen. And I'm not reading any more than that. So
all right, okay, so it's not a wolf then. It's a submachine gun.
Yeah, well, either way, they're both cool, right? Whether he's
pretty much,
submachine gun or the wolf, it's pretty amazing. So fair enough.
Yeah.
But
every submachine gun.
What did you say?
I don't know.
No, I mean neither. Right.
Dolce.
Next one. Oh, Dolce. Yeah. Yeah. Forget that guy. Listen, he got too big for his own boots. Started getting involved in the stare downs and all that sort of stuff.
That's right. Yeah, he was in the fight more than the fighter, wasn't he?
Yeah, but the thing is he was the go-to guy, right? And he kind of like had, I mean, what felt like kind of partnership deals with the UFC. The UFC fit and stuff like that. I think that was Dolce, wasn't it, or similar stuff? And then he just disappeared off the scene. Didn't someone make some allegations against him, like he was crap or something? Someone said he didn't help me out, or he was rubbish. Someone like Sanchez or Ferguson.
I think you could be some truth in it. I don't want to bring it up because I don't. Rings a bell. There is some shred of something going on in my head, but
was it BJ Penn?
It's possible. We're not on here to badmouth Dolce, right?
You brought him up. Right? Anyway,
we could do.
I'm looking up now.
Right. Well, in the meantime,
BJ Penn details issues with Mike Dolce, slams the Dolce diet.
Oh, well, there you go. Well done, mate. You dragged that one out of here, didn't you, eh?
Yeah, not bad. It makes up for me calling Mr. Beltran. I still can't remember his name. It makes
Mark
up
Beltran, yeah.
Mark and Joey, yeah.
Mark and Joey.
Mike Beltran, that's it. Right.
So
this fight.
Well, before we get onto this fight, we ain't finished with Dolce yet, even though I said we had finished with Dolce. We ain't. Andreas Michael, the coach, understandably, it wasn't just Dolce that did these chats, but he's got the ump with it because, and I don't blame him. So, look, you're coming out of the woodwork now, giving it all the chat. We're all good, thanks. you think we don't know what's going on? You think we don't have nutritionists and coaches and this, that, the other doing this stuff? The way he dealt with it was amazing. He's like, I have got the ump with people saying it, disparaging my team and what we've got going on here. But thanks, but we're all good. I like him, this Andreas Michael bloke.
Well, you ain't all good though, because you were 7.5 pounds overweight. But I know what you mean. Yeah,
it was a bad one.
But
maybe he does need Dolce. Maybe he needs eat a bit of humble ingers.
Nah, definitely don't need Dolce. But yeah,
let's have it. Chat about the fight. There's something to remind us. Something you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, I've got no problem with this for a couple of reasons.
No problem with what? Tell me.
Well,
no problem with what?
They're, right, as you can see from the image on the left, it looks like Kevin Hollands comes out to do a touch gloves, which is kind of run of the mill for most fighters, and Chimaev kind of goes up like this and then shoots in under. So it looks like, for most people, it looks like he's gonna touch gloves. He doesn't. He shoots in, gets him down. I actually think Hollands does a good job scrambling and everything. He makes it really difficult for Chimaev. He manages to get back to his feet a couple of times. And honestly, I feel like if he could have got out of that first round, it would have been a very, very interesting fight. Very interesting. Because Chimaev went from 0 to 100 miles an hour in that fight for 2.5 minutes. And I honestly thought he was going to run out of puff. I know he's done 3 rounds with Burns. It was a different fight. That was a stand-up affair. This, he was tossing Hollands around and trying to control him and everything for, the best part of 3 minutes or something. And I honestly thought, if this gets out of round 1, I'd be nipping to the bookies and saying I'll have a 5 on Hollands. That's what I thought. I just thought that Chimaev went too hard, too fast. But just to quickly chat about this, I don't think it was anything dirty from Chimaev, for the simple reason that, and I have seen other stuff as well. This is a regular takedown he does, and he does it someone showed it in the fight against Jing Lang, I think it was. He done the same thing. He comes out, Jing Lang didn't offer his hands. That wasn't like a friendly touch. He does a fake jab and then shoots under. And so it's something he's done before. It's a move. The Hollands, Chimaev, they'd already touched gloves before the fight because it was co-mains. They were brought to the center of the octagon. They'd already done the fist bump. And so I just think that while it didn't look good, while it did look like a bit of a dirty dog move, I don't think it was. I just think that's what Chimaev does. And like I say, they'd already touched gloves. And I would also say to Hollands, always be prepared. If you're in a fight, don't let your guard down. Don't make yourself vulnerable. You can even see there, look at his feet position when he's coming into to offer
look
hand,
at his legs.
Right? Yeah. He's made himself so even if you are going to offer your hand, at least be in a proper fighting style where you're in a position to sprawl or split your legs. He didn't. He came out basically square on, feet together, like he's waiting for the bus to do a high five with a mate, and he paid the price for it. So I think he was ill prepared. I don't think Chimaev was being dirty. I just think it's a move he does. He'd already touched his gloves and done the sportsman-like thing. Right. And he's done this move right at the start of a fight before, exact same move against Jing Lang. So I don't think it was dirty. I just think it looked dirty.
Yeah, and you don't have to do this glove touch thing. If you want to do it, you do it. And if you don't want to do it, you don't. But my question then, after that little breakdown, is let's just say Hollands went back to the cage after the central glove touch co-main event glove touch. They both go back. Let's just say at that point he done the technique as they do. They put their hand up to go, are we touching? And I don't know this. I haven't checked, and I might not have been on camera anyway. And Chimaev said, yeah, cool, we'll do.
That would be dirt. That would be dirty. Yeah,
interesting one.
But there is no one's brought that footage to light, and as people would do. Other people, like I say, have brought up the fact that he does this, jab and then shoot in for a takedown. That's just one of his moves, and that's, to me, that's all he did. Was, some people also, let's not kid ourselves. Some people they don't just come out and offer the hand. Sometimes people do come out with that kind of a stance early on as well, right? A sort of keeping a bit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You could look at that and go, well, that's what Hollands was doing, right? He was kind of putting his hands out as if to say,
Could be.
I just think that I don't think Chimaev was being dirty. I don't think he's got any reason or need to be dirty. It's not like he can't shoot in on a takedown 5 seconds later. I just think that's one of his moves. He'd done it. He'd already shaken hands. I had no problem with what he'd done. Initially, I did look at it and go, "Oh!" I actually rewound it at the time. I rewound it.
Me
Went,
too.
"Oh, has he
Yeah.
been dirty there?" I went, "Has he been dirty?" And I can't deny my initial impression was he has the dirty, dirty dog or whatever, the dirty wolf,
Yeah.
dirty submachine gun. I thought
Yeah.
he had done a bit of a dodgy
No,
technique.
submachine guns.
No,
Because it's
sorry.
an umbrella for all of them. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But afterwards, on reflection, I just think it is what it is. I think Hollands is more to blame than Chimaev. His lack of awareness was more to blame than Chimaev trying to gain an unfair advantage.
Protect yourself at all times. Don't just mean from punches to the face.
Exactly.
Could mean from getting double-legged, right? Or whatever, getting taken down. So that was the beginning of the end, if you like, of that fight. He gripped onto him. I agree with you that I think Holland did a wicked job of not just letting that happen. But anyway, it happened, and Chimaev won that fight, if you like, easily. Would it have been as easy if it went to round 2? Well, we're not going to find out, and that's what Chimaev has protected himself from in this fight, so we can only speculate. I guess now, have you got anything else to say about this fight particularly? Because not much happened in it, really.
Not really, other than obviously the weight miss is a bit of a concern, because obviously he was more sort of building himself up for a welterweight title shot, and now that's kind of all a little bit like, right, well, where does this guy actually sit, welterweight or middleweight? I think he's a main contender for both, but I get the impression that if he won his fight at welterweight, he would, against Diaz, he would basically be looking at guaranteed title shot of the winner of Usman Edwards rematch, if they rematch. Now I think that's all up a little bit a little bit up in the air. I think if I was the UFC, I'd be going, can I trust this guy to make weight? Because don't forget, he can't make, it's not 171. He's got to make 170. There's no leeway in a title fight. So he was nowhere near on this. And I would, if I was them, I would say, if you're going for the welterweight strap, you need to prove to us one more time before you get a title shot that you can make 170. I wouldn't risk it.
Okay.
But other than that, I really like Chimaev. Everything.
No, he's amazing.
I like everything. The fighting style. Everything. I like the face. I like Ball's nickname now that we know what it means. I like everything. I like the fact that he was telling the crowd to flip off and I'm going to kill everybody. I absolutely love that. I'm going to kill you all. Yeah, just fantastic. Not sort of coming out and being all timid and shy and sorry I missed weight. Yeah, there is something to be said for that, for being humble when you've made a mistake and that. But I like the fact that he just went, nope, I'm playing up to the bad guy role. It's like F you all, flip off, flipping the middle finger to everybody. I love the sitting on the cage with Darren Till.
Yeah, brilliant.
Really, really like this guy. I mean, I'd like him to be champ.
Dare I say? Well, it'd be interesting. We always said it, when McGregor wins, it's more interesting, right? Look, dare I say it? The sitting on the cage is similar to a shoey, or you know what I
mean? Yeah.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to bring up, because of the weight miss thing, I'm going to bring up a post-fight interview with Chimaev. Rogan. Loved it. I loved that he wouldn't let it go. Yeah, as you know, he said, what about the missing weight, blah, blah, blah. Normal question that any one of them post-fight interview blokes would have asked. And he went, I don't give a damn about that. I don't care. All I know is I smashed. And he's like, yeah, well, you might not care now, but if that was a title fight, or if you're going to get a title fight in the future, very good. Really good. Control. Looked like he had control of it,
That's why he's the best at it, in my opinion.
Mine too. Yeah, brilliant.
Really, really good. Because, I think it was, like you say, he didn't let him get away with it. He didn't let him just deflect or ignore the question. He was like, I'm going to have to press you on this because people are going to want to know.
Yeah.
But, obviously, he just said, I'm going to smash and kill everybody. I don't know why I'm going to get killed or you're going to get killed, but
he still did. To be fair to him, he still did take the question seriously eventually and did say, look, I would have done it. Doctor stopped me doing it. So he did, Rogan got it out of him. So that was good, good interview skills. Like that a lot. Now, we might as well move on to the next fight, right?
Yep.
It's the third remix fight, and it's the main event. Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. No fight of the night on this. There was like 4 performances of the night. So I just don't understand what's going on here. Anyway, so this was... Ferguson was always going to fight welterweight on this event. Agreed? That's right. He was Jin Yang. So he'd gone up from 155 after getting booted in the head from Chandler. Said, I'm going to do a 170. So it was always going to be a 170. So there was no weight mix-ups here. So was Diaz at 170. So they just end up matching these two together. And, we saw what happened. Look, I think you're probably going to know that I love this fight. And, you know why I love this fight. And you're turning yellow again. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the agreement now, right? It's like you can't handle it anymore. So you just turn yellow. It's brilliant. You would guess that I love this fight, right? And you would know why I love this fight because you know me. However, I would completely understand you saying to me, you liked that, but you hated it when Rockhold had his hands on his knees. You hated that. So what do you like this for? Yeah, it's a bad comparison. It ain't the same thing, right? I don't know if he was out of breath or not. He did look it, to be fair, but the way he does it, it's the character, the personality, the leaning on the cage and throwing side kicks and all that. Brilliant. The point, I love the point move because I do the point move in badminton. I've done the point move at you. So you know I like the point move, right? I've done that before that guy. So I like all of that. To me, it makes fights
not
interesting.
quite the same, is it, though, pointing at someone when you're all bloody
I was just drawing a parallel.
It is a bad one, because it's like...
I was drawing a parallel, not making the comparison.
Well, you did. You said, I've done it before him and all that. I'm the original.
Yeah, that's right. But I was just drawing a parallel to the point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. But you do
it wasn't a bad comparison.
Well, it is, because you do it when you're playing bloody badminton against a fellow saggy middle-aged guy. If you were doing that in the middle of a cage fight with a bloody face, I'd go, that was pretty amazing when you done that, But doing it in badminton when I'm already about 20 points in front is really no great achievement. But I didn't like this fight.
Loved it.
And yeah, see, that's the funny thing, right? Because I liked Costa Rockhold and you hated that. Yeah. And now you're saying you love this. And I'm like, I hated it.
Okay. All of it? Even that?
No, see, that to me, it was
it
was the perfect ending, right? He held on to that choke a split second. Like he tapped quite quick, Ferguson, and the ref stepped in. And I think Diaz went, no, hang on a sec. I need to do this first. Yeah, he definitely held it on for a split second to go, no, have you got this shot? You got this shot right now. I'll let it go. And 2:09 left on the clock. Amazing.
I heard that, yeah.
2:09. I mean, you couldn't write it any better.
That's brilliant.
However, look, Diaz, if you want to do a chat about his career, you can do a separate podcast and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, you could do.
He's now sort of, if you like, I don't want to say irrelevant, but irrelevant in UFC terms for now, because he's going on to greener pastures, hopefully. And that's that, right? And it was the perfect send-off for him. He beats another really popular kind of legend status fighter, beats him with 2:09 left on the clock, does a bicep, even though it means holding on to the choke a bit too long.
At least it wasn't the full choke, right? Because the full choke was this hand here. He had to take that away to do the bicep. So
yeah. You could see the folks.
It's just he left this here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a bit, But listen, I'm glad.
Right.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And Ferguson had no problem with it, right? Because, like I say, he didn't have the full choke locked on at that point, and it wasn't like he left it locked on for like 10 seconds. It was just like a couple of split seconds. I might feel different if it was my neck in there, but I loved it because obviously I wanted to see that version. But so for him, perfect.
It was very perfect, though. Remember, because not only did he win his last fight on his contract, like you say, and he only done the bloke that was put in front of him. And people can say whatever they want, but it should have been Chimaev. It's not my fault. I didn't miss weight. I didn't even want that fight, but I still took that fight, and I still showed up for that fight on weight. So this guy, he is squeaky clean throughout all of it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's
I mean,
made him look amazing.
Yeah, he couldn't write any better. He met his contractual obligations to fight the guy that no one else wanted to fight. That guy didn't make his contractual obligations, so now Diaz can basically say, can say what you said. You're a wimp.
Exactly.
You bottled the fight and all that. He keeps his reputation and everything. He wins. He wins in perfect fashion with a submission, with 2:09 left on the clock against the guy. Let's be honest. It's not like they just shipped in some random guy. This is a guy with a real good name, good record, one that fans really love as well. In Ferguson, everything for Diaz was perfect. Everything.
Yeah.
That was the perfect send off.
Yeah,
I have to
unbelievable.
say,
Yeah.
Ferguson looked. It might be time, right? I'd never tell anyone to do that, but it might be time.
Of course not. You're not right. You're not telling him to do that now, right?
No.
You're just watching it and having a look, and you're saying what you're seeing. This is a fighter you like. This is someone whose skills you like. You think he's brilliant. I know you think he's brilliant. I think he's brilliant. But he looked, slow, stiff, not elusive, not creative. Now, I am going to say some stuff now because he's done some different methods. As you know, he used to go out on his own and kick poles and do all sorts of weird stuff, right? Kind of what made him him and made him individual and made him special, if you like, right? A little bit different. But he started doing normal training camps, and other fighters would go, yeah, that's a good thing. This is what you need. This is why you've been getting done. So he was at wherever it was, Winklejohn and all that with Chicksick or whatever his name is and all those blokes. And you heard him in the corner, right? I'm not saying they were wrong, but every time it is a bad move when he gets hit and he sort of runs like that to his side away. But he also would turn to start, I'm going to do some of my stuff. And you heard him constantly. I'm not saying he took any notice. You could hear him shouting out. And if they're shouting out in the corner, they certainly would have been trying to drum it into in training camps. Don't turn your back. Don't turn your back. I get it. But what I'm saying is, it's like what we said about some other fighters, Ross Pearson, when he changed, and maybe they made him run of the mill and tried to take away the unorthodoxness of him. Maybe. I don't know. But he looked different. And is that because he got smashed with a boot in the face? Is it because he's old? What are it? Is it because he's 170? There's loads of things you could throw in there and go, this is why he looked like that. But it might also be because of what he's been told not to do or whatever. And it might have made him hesitant to flow because he did not look oiled, greased, smooth, flowing.
Yeah, no flow, zero. And
might not all be
another example of that we spoke about before was Hakeem Buckley. The first couple of fights in the UFC, an absolute wild man, swinging for the bleachers. Now he's fighting too much like a mixed martial artist. Oh, mixed martial artist.
I loved it. It's a mixed martial
artist. Yeah, it's very posh, wasn't it?
I wonder
and
what
now
his lineage is.
He looks a bit run of the mill, like you say, just looks like another MMA guy. If I saw him in his last ones, I wouldn't pick him out as a guy to be excited about. But his first few fights, I was like, this guy's amazing, even though he lost, his debut. And Ferguson, to me, he used to walk through hellfire to get to the people, to land his elbows and just carve them to pieces, right? And now I just look at him and I go, what does he offer? He doesn't wrestle or grapple much. Whenever he leg kicks, he seems to just get drilled with a straight shot down the pipe every time. He just doesn't seem to have a jab with any authority or anything. He doesn't, like say, flow. He doesn't have sort of any uniqueness to his game. Like say, he used to have stuff like elbows from weird angles or spinning attacks. He ain't got none of that anymore.
Yeah, he's
like if you take that out,
all that, didn't he? Bomb,
you take all that out of him.
Yeah.
It's like you're just left with, to me, someone who's, I don't know, he just looked slow. He looked stuttery. He didn't look strong. Didn't look anything. Honestly, he looked like a guy who'd come out of retirement. Looked like a guy who'd maybe been retired for a couple of years, had another training camp, and came back for a last big payday. Remember when Nate Diaz came back and people said, he was very good. I actually thought he looked really good considering how long he'd been out for. I thought he looked good. Ferguson looked like he'd had about 10 years out.
Yeah, and like you say, you're only being this critical, if you want to call it that, because it's Tony Ferguson. If this was a bloke you
Yeah,
didn't
well, I
know,
don't think I'm saying anything horrible about him.
I'm not saying no. I don't think you are either. But the only reason you're saying this is because of how good you know and you think Tony Ferguson is and has been. If this was just another bloke who you've never heard of, John Smith, on his debut, you would have gone, he didn't look very good, and that's the end of it. You wouldn't have been bothered, because you would have gone, well, I don't know him. It's early days for him. It's only because of who it is that you're going, what's happened? He's
wind
wicked.
this back matchup back 3 or 4 years. I'm not saying he would have won, but I'd have picked Ferguson. Someone said to me, Ferguson's fighting more years. I'd have gone, well, Ferguson's going to win. That's what I'd have thought. I might have been proved wrong, but that's what my initial gut feeling would have been. I thought Diaz was going to win this fight, and I thought it'd be quite easy, to be honest, just because of, I think Ferguson's really been through the walls. I think the Gaethje fight really did take a lot out of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Ferguson. If I'm not saying that he shouldn't have another fight. It was his first fight at 170. Maybe give him someone also, say, sort of a bit long in the tooth, not so dangerous. And
I think he's had other 170 fights, ain't he?
He may have done in the past, but not recently.
I think he's had loads. I think.
I
think I heard something like that. So I think he may have had quite a lot. I think. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, you could double check it. Not that it matters. Look, I don't think he's quitting anytime soon. And that's why I love the guy, right? Who in their right mind wouldn't retire after getting that Chandler kick in the face, in the chin, right? Honestly, most people would. He ain't most people. He ain't normal. He's got, the heart, determination, this, that, and the other. Very, very unlikely he's going to want to go out on that performance. I just can't see him quitting. I don't even want him to. I'd like to see him have a fight.
I'd like to see one more. I'd like to see one more, but just not. Look, I'll read you his last 5. Right, he's lost his last 5. Look at his last 5: Justin Gaethje,
Powers,
Charles Oliveira,
Powers, champ,
Benil Dariush,
Powers, highly
Michael
regarded,
Chandler,
Powers,
and Nate Diaz. Right, so I'd rather he
Powers.
just got a 170 fight against someone who's perhaps not ranked, maybe. Someone like, I know he's fought Cerrone before, but, like Cerrone, if it was like a year or so ago before Cerrone, that'd have been the perfect sort of matchup. But that kind of thing, if Sanchez was still knocking about, sling him in there, that kind of thing. But I'd like to see, I wouldn't mind seeing one more just to see whether, look, he's just had a real rough run and he can still be competitive at a certain level. But if he has one more performance and it's a rough one, I think, like I say, I think he's a guy who'd never quit. He'd probably still be 40 and still be having
no way.
But
there are plenty of reasons to quit before now.
But I think
they ain't got rid of him either, right?
No.
Right. I'm not saying they never would, but I'm just saying they ain't got rid of him either. Look, it's lucky he never got smashed out in this one. He got choked, not unconscious, but, he got himself into that, and he ain't gonna. It's not like he got banged out again, cold or anything. So you're blue now. It's quite a good one. I'd happily see the bloke fight again. I want to see him fight again. And I think he deserves to get a fight where, not that he smashes someone in, but where he has a performance that he's happy, enjoyed it. I mean, it looked like he enjoyed that. I don't know if he really enjoyed it. He seemed to be the enjoyment after losing seemed a little much. And I don't have a problem with that, because maybe he was trying his best to not mope about, not cry about it. And maybe that did come out in laughing, smiling, and taking it on the chin, so to speak. But yeah, he was really happy about getting done, if you know what I mean.
I think it was also probably a little bit, being part of that occasion, right? It was quite a big event. Nate Diaz is signing off, a little bit of sort of, if you like, moment of history, and, 2 guys that are sort of been in the organisation a long time and all that. So there's probably a little bit of sort of that kind of camaraderie and stuff like that taking place.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, well, there's me in the background.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, seen
him. Buffer eating the microphone.
Eating it. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. You didn't like the fight. You didn't like the fight. What? Just because?
It
Not
was
much
just
skill going on.
Just felt sloppy.
Well, yeah, but Costa and Rockhold weren't sloppy. Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah. No, I'm just saying that weren't sloppy then.
Not as sloppy as this.
All right. Well,
At least Costa Rockhold, I at least had the impression that either guy could have, if they landed one of the one strikes they threw every 30 seconds, it could finish the other one. Whereas this kind of felt like they weren't going to knock each other out. I was actually surprised when the finish came. So I was surprised that he submitted Tony. So
you didn't think it was starting to add up a bit? Ferguson had a bit of a smashed in face. I know he's got scars, stuff and all that. But whenever he hit the back of that fence, whenever he's back at that fence, even a bit, I think, Diaz was on him with the old peppering and all that. It seemed to be starting to add up, no?
Yeah.
If he hadn't shot in, why is he shooting in? He shot in because he was getting done, right? Getting done.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. It's not like he was going to go smack. I know what you mean by that, of course. But, yeah, I loved it. Of course I did. It's Travis Brown, Verdum and all that. I like crap fights. What's the other fight that everyone hates? The one where Frank Mir had a sparring match with Crow Cop or something like that, and everyone hated that and went, ugh, crap, because they were two mates every time.
Yeah, touching gloves every 2 seconds.
Yeah, loved it.
It weren't Crow Cop Mir though, was it? It was someone
Weren't
else.
It?
No, I don't think it was.
You've got to think about it. It was a respect fight, where you go, look, two legends. Bang, constantly being mates, touching gloves.
Was it Mark Hunt, maybe?
We'd have to look it up to be sure. But yeah, see, I liked that. I like the Anderson Silva, Damian Maia, and all that. So there's lots of things. And I do understand why you like the Costa Rockhold. It made me like Rockhold loads. So it at least brought that out I went, well, crap, hands on the bloody knees, kick him in the head, get rid of him, beat him up. That was annoying me, but at the same time, at the end of it, I went, yeah, Rockhold, brilliant, even though it weren't brilliant. So it did make me think he was brilliant. It did make me go, don't retire. So I kind of did like it. I didn't want him to retire. No way. If Rockhold was, next Rockhold fight announced, that'd be fantastic. I want to see what's going to happen again. At least it gave me something to watch, right? Just because I thought it was a bit of a poor fight, it don't matter. It's still entertaining in its own way. So I do totally understand why you liked it. So that's that fight. Have you got anything else to say on that fight?
No.
Right. So we're basically done. The last thing I want to mention, is I think my favorite moment, and we've got the Barnett stuff, that was amazing, of the night was this. Now, you could have been fast forwarding, but did you see it when he came up?
No, I saw it.
Loved it. That was the face when the camera went on him. That was the face when his name came up at the bottom. That was the face when people started cheering. And that was the face when the camera left. That was the face. Everything's brilliant. The stance, the neck, the face. Loved it.
It was like they stuck it. I remember thinking it was like they just stuck a cardboard cutout of him.
Yeah, he didn't move.
Yeah.
He just kind of froze and went, I'm on camera. That's it. And stood there. No reactions, no.
I know the feeling. I've been on the camera at the start of the UFC event, remember? And I just froze and all.
I've seen it.
So
the camera and you were only there. It was panning around quick. You didn't have a few seconds of you standing there.
Yeah, I'm not like one of these guys who, like some people go like, like this, or they'll go, that and all this sort of stuff.
Wait a minute. Do them again. What do some people do them again?
No.
What's some of the classics? Oh.
No, people do screaming, the Just Bleed guy, all this sort of stuff, and and getting their shoe off and with a beer and all that stuff, But I didn't. I just done a.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, we know exactly what you've done.
Yeah, that's it. BJ Penn ripped me off. That's my move.
The truth is, you was first with it.
Get your own move, BJ.
Brilliant. Overall, did you end up enjoying the event? We'll finish on that.
Not really, no. If I'm being honest,
there's nothing that. Okay.
Cycle through the fights really quickly because I'm going now. Cycle through the fights, and I'll tell you. I'll give you a score out of 10 for each of them.
Let me tell you, right?
Get going.
You may not have okay, yeah, understandable. You may not have enjoyed the event, but I know for a fact you enjoyed this Podders. I know.
Yeah. Go on,
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So I know.
Like, in like not in a pervy way, as in like, you know, muscle definition. Like I said, shoulders and stuff are really impressive. You've got a really good, strong physique.
Look,
I'm
even
really
in this
athletic.
shot, right? Look at the body in that shot. Look at it.
Yeah, great.
Powers, isn't it?
I don't know how you get a bod like that. It's really impressive. Like I said,
Ask
not
Danyelle
nothing.
Wolf. So you're saying you just not want prelims onwards? Go. You know, you can do what you can.
Brilliant. You know, 8.5 out of 10. Brilliant. No, 8. 6. It weren't bad. It was all right. Just over too quick. Not enough. You know, like 5, whatever. This was all right. 6. Yeah, this was all right when it was on as well. 6. Didn't really like it that much, to be honest. Like 5 maximum. Like a 3. This was exciting. I'm going to give that like a 7 or an 8. Like a 4.
What?
And that's only for that. It's only for the end. Yeah. 4.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. All right. Well, fair enough. I understand. And you never watched the Danyelle Wolf fight because you didn't see that, so you can't add that into the mix and go, hang on, I forgot. But surely I've helped bump that up a bit with the shots of Wolf. No.
No.
Oh, forget it. I ain't bothering next time. It just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, well,
all right.
That fella told you, stop the channel.
He did, but I can't. You know why? Cole Roche. Can't do it.
It's not Cole.
Look, yeah, but Cole's short for Colin. He's my mate. Listen, I'm not going to call him Colin. Let's call this bloke, you know, David. No, Dave, mates. It's not Colin. It's Cole. All right, Cole. It's like that. All right, Cole. Listen, remember the comment. We'll repeat it. Love it. It was the comment. And you know what I think about that comment?
Let's see if he leaves that comment again. I bet you he don't.
Yeah, we'll see.
Go through this. Right.
All right. Well, look, that was the chat.
My eyes have gone green now. Look. What's going on?
Yeah, well,
anyway, see you later.
What happened? What would happen if we just didn't leave and you just stayed on there?
What colour would I end up? Yeah.
Brilliant. Ultimate Fighting chat, UFC 279 post-fight chat. That's what we've done. And let's be honest, right? We have done that podcast and that chat against all odds. You know what I mean? Against all odds.
Yeah.
Right.
Put that in your pipe.
Right, exactly. But there's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Right.
Yeah, good old Cole. Pipe that, you flip. Thanks, mate.
See you later.
Yeah, see you later.